Hello there lovely crafters, it's Terry from Veegstez Creates, back with this month's Tonic Studios Craft Kit unboxing and project share inspiration video. So welcome back to all of my regular viewers who come back month after month to watch these videos. Great to have you back, and I really appreciate your ongoing support. And a special welcome to anybody who has stumbled across my video or it's been suggested to you. I really hope you enjoyed the content of this tutorial and inspiration video. So the format that I do these videos in is I show you the completed makes, then we'll have a brief look at the contents of the kit, and then I will either do a tutorial or explain to you how I'm going to make these cards. So with that being said, let's dive in and have a look at the contents of the craft kit, shall we? Okay, so let's take a quick look at what we're working with today. So this is kit 69 if you're still using the numbering system. We do get a binder with this month's kit, and it's called Whimsical Wonderland, and isn't that just adorable, those images there on the sticker? So straight away we can see that this is a Christmas themed kit. We'll have a look at the colour scheme first. So this is new, Glorious Greens Mirror Card Collection. So we've got a selection of 4 different mirror cards, 2 high gloss and 2 matte, which is really useful. I hope they do more pads like this, that's really fab. And then looking at the main colour palette, also we've got sea salt green, we've got a pine green or a fern green, we've got a ginger pie, that'll be nice with looks like we've got some gingerbread men. We've got a lovely red. I haven't got the list of the colours with me. We've got Candy Stripe, one of my favourites. We've got this one, which I think is Ice Ring. It's one of the speciality cardstocks. We've got Hollow Waves. Everybody loves Hollow Waves. And we've got the silver glitter. So a lovely palette there to be working with. And obviously the greens as well. So we're getting a lot of cardstock for our book here, and then we'll have a look at the Nouveau and then we'll come to the kit last. So in the Nouveau we get Acorn Brown hybrid ink pad. In case you didn't know, the hybrid ink pads are fab because they dry really quickly, like as quick as a dye ink, but they can be used with alcohol markers and water-based markers, so they're really handy. We've got a full-size mica mist. Oh, look at that. What a gorgeous colour. It's sort of like a bluey green. Beryl swirl. That's gorgeous. We've got a Iced Ivy water-based glitter pen. We've got some glitter accents, which will be fab for making snow in our winter wonderland, and some vintage drops in gilded gold. So we've got a nice varied colour palette to work with actually in our kit. So it's the same gingerbread little man and gingerbread woman that are on the front. Oh, they're just adorable. Oh, they're so cute. Candy canes, a lovely house there. Oh, with all Christmas windows. Sweet season's greetings, warm winter wishes, 'tis the season to be jolly, from our home to yours, Merry Christmas, and oh what fun. I love that there's such a variety of sentiment stamps because not everyone celebrates Christmas, but you know, you don't want to, you sometimes, like say if you work in an office or something, or well another place where there's multiple people, you want to send cards to everyone, but you don't, if someone doesn't celebrate Christmas, you can send them a season's greetings or a warm winter wishes card. So that's super cute. And then looking at the dies, oh, we've got a gorgeous, okay, so it's called Whimsical Wonderland. So basically we can create like a Christmas winter wonderland with this die and stamp set. This is fab. So we've got loads of trees, 4 trees. We've got, oh my gosh, it looks like a fairy door. We've got this, a gingerbread man, and then the die to cut him out. That's just a verso die, so I imagine that that will also cut out, yeah, it will. It'll cut out the stamped gingerbread people as well, which is handy. Very good, guys, well planned. We've got something to go on the roof here with snow and ice dangling down this gorgeous house. Oh my gosh, it looks so beautiful. That looks like it could be a sled or a sleigh to go sledging. Oh. These look like they are the cutting dies to cut out the words, which is fabulous. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so it looks like we get one to cut that out, and then we get a backing plate as well. That's wonderful, because I love sentiment stamps that have a backing plate. It's the same as well with this one, which I think is Warm Winter Wishes. Yeah, brilliant. So you can have it, you can either just use one or the other or both to create added interest. There's another one there, Sweet Season's Greetings. That's probably the outer one to that. There's another roof one here that's got 2 verso dies in it. So lots of options to add rooftops to that house. Oh, I think that's a pot. I think that's a pot for the small Christmas tree. And then, gosh, there's just so much. There's a cute little house here as well. Look at that. It's like a tiny little like fairy house or something. And then it's got an outer die here. So we really can build up our own winter wonderland with this. This would be brilliant if you wanted to go all out and make really special card, like a shadow box card or a trifold card. But I can also see ways that this could be really great at being used for batch making as well. My brain is going into overdrive. Okay, you could definitely go to town or make really simple cards. So I think, because my initial go-to, what I would usually do would be to go all out and make an intricate trifold card with loads of paper piecing and stuff like that. But I think actually, I mean, I don't know about you, but I just don't know where the year's gone, and I think it would be quite handy to have some ideas for batch making cards. Obviously, amongst the design team, we're going to have such a range of ideas. I reckon that other members of the design team will be making quite intricate cards using the houses and things. So I think I'm going to give some inspiration for some batch made cards. So I'm going to go away and plan my makes, and then I'll see you back in a moment for the tutorials. Okay, so this kit, as I said, is so versatile. So there's a few things that I wanted to show you. In the stamp set, there is this lovely stamp which looks like a house, but there's no corresponding die to cut it out, or so I thought. But there is this verso die which is used in conjunction with this to make a solid piece. And I wondered, okay, well, will it work with that stamp? And it does. And then there are these little swirly things. And if you notice, all along the front and around the house are these swirls. So what I realised is 2 of these that are opposites, so they're meant to be used opposite each other to look like this. So that way and then that way. So essentially there are just so many options to use what's in the kit. So I'm going to try and share as many of these little discoveries as I can. But that I thought was so cool. And then I got this die out which cuts a snowy rooftop, and that'll look perfect on there. And then this is the first time that I'm using my Tonic Studios positionable messy mat. So this actually sticks onto my faux wood photography surface, and then it's not going anywhere. And then also there's a little die that cuts out 3 stars, and I wanted to apply these glitter accents to the rooftops and also to the stars, but that can be quite fiddly. So there was a tip that I picked up from Jennifer Maguire, so in case you haven't seen it, I'll share that with you. So basically, if you put the things that you've cut out back into the slots that they've come out of on top of some low tack adhesive so it holds them in place, you can then ink over them or use media over them. So now I'm going to be able to add some glitter accents onto my stars and my rooftops, and not have to be chasing tiny little stars all around my craft room. So it's super easy to apply the glitter accents. So I've just done the 3 rooftops and I've left, and the stars, and then I've left one to show you. So with the stars, you just blob some on, and then I find these Nouveau spatulas to be really quite handy, and then just move it around. If you like me and you've got a sacrificial pokey tool, you know, not your nice one, if you've got like a nice Tim Holtz retractable craft pick, I've got this old red one, you can use like that, something like that as well for little fiddly bits. I do find that helps too, and also to keep it in place if you don't want to hold it with your finger. I'm adding quite a bit because I want it to be quite chunky, and it's a really warm June day. So this one is probably pretty much dry now, because I just had someone come to the door for a little bit, so I had to go and sort them out. But yeah, so you just sort of use the pokey tool and press down, and there you go, you've got 3 gorgeous little stars that are all nice and shiny. So you can leave it to dry. I would advise to try and remove them before they have fully dried though, because just in case they stick too much. As you can see, I'm adding quite a bit, and that's because I want it to be really quite pronounced. But you don't have to add this much, you know, you can add a thin layer, but I want it to sort of have like a sparkling snow kind of effect. But you can see these have dried in the half an hour while I've been seeing someone at the door, and you can see it doesn't stay like that. So if you want it more on there, you can just go back and reapply, because it does flatten down. It's not like an embellishment mousse. So if you do want it really to look like more poofy like that, then just go back and add some more. Once it's dried, you can layer it up. and keep these as well, because you can also use these as stencils. So if you're wanting to add some stars to the background, just the paste stars, then you can use that as a stencil. Obviously you can only use it a few times before it gives up, but because this isn't too watery and because it's quite thick as a substance, you would be able to get a few uses out of that. So I'm going to colour up that little house and add one of these little roofs on. I've got so many ideas and so many great ideas for batch making cards. So I'll let you know my ideas that would be perfect for batch making, because obviously it's almost July, which is when us crafters tend to start making our Christmas projects. So if you can find a design that you like, that you can vary a bit so you don't get bored, then that's why batch making is great. Okay, so I've now planned out my 3 makes for this craft kit. Now I think all 3 can be considered batch make suitable, but one of them you might question. So I'm going to start with this one. So essentially for this one I used 3 of the 4 Christmas tree dies. I cut 2 each from the Glorious Greens paper pad, and I also cut 2 each of the sea salt green. I then die cut 4 of the little candy canes, which give a gorgeous little stitched effect, and just coloured them in typical candy cane colours. And this is going to be on an A6 card. The other 2 are A2. That you can see is a matte layer, and then it will go then onto an A6 size card blank. So because I had 2 trees left over, I've decided to put them one on top of the other, with the mirror card being underneath, just to give a bit of extra specialness. And then because this would have been otherwise quite a plain card, which is fine, clean and simple is good, I decided to use 2 of the sentiments together. I absolutely love the font of this Merry Christmas, and then used a lovely frame die from one of my Tonic Studios frames and tag sets. I die cut another one, did that super cool hack where you cut it down the middle and then glue each end just a little bit away from the middle, so there's like, say, a 3-4 millimeter gap down the middle, which you won't notice. And I'm going to mount that onto foam pad so that it's higher up. I'll also mount the candy canes onto foam pads as well. So basically this is a quick batch make, because if you just spend half an hour running all these dies through the die cutting machine, so you've got tons of Christmas trees, and then you measure your panels, it's really super simple. And also there'll be loads of leftover pieces, because as you can see, the way I've arranged it is that there are tree parts hanging over the edges, and that is because that is more pleasing to the eye than if they were all stuck onto the white panel. So you'll actually be able to use those pieces to make other cards, and really you don't need anything in that centerpiece. This is something, and in fact all 3 cards, that can definitely be a family affair, because you know your own children, if they're at an age where they're capable of gluing something onto a piece of paper or card and arranging them like this, then they're going to have a blast doing this with you. So it's family fun time, keep the kids quiet, and then you're getting your Christmas cards sorted. So that is the first one. I'm going to explain all 3 designs, and then I'm going to make them off camera, because you don't need to see me gluing them, you just need to know about the concept. So that is card 1. Now I am in love with this Beryl Swirl mica mist. When you shake it up, all of the mica moves around, otherwise it settles at the bottom, and it's absolutely stunning. And this is what it looks like if you spray it onto the sea salt green cardstock. It gives it a beautiful shimmer with the fine mist, and then you do get some blobs which are just stunning as well. There's so many uses for that. That would be beautiful for a night sky. It's gorgeous. So for this one, I used the acorn brown ink pad that was included in the kit, and I used the reverse of the ginger pie because I wanted it smooth, and then I stamped the little male and female gingerbread people onto this card panel randomly, again using the same principle. So I put a piece of scrap paper into my stamp platform so that the bottom of my stamp platform wouldn't get full of ink basically, and made it so that they were coming in from all angles, and you can see how it's quite pleasing to the eye and looks more like a piece of patterned paper, for example. If you look at patterned paper, you'll see that it's like that. So then I sat in front of the telly and just coloured them up with coloured pencils. So you might not know this, but yes, you can use coloured pencils on top of coloured cardstock. It still works. You still see this. I used a red pencil for the red dress. I used a terracotta kind of colour, so a bit darker than this, for some shadow. I used like a yellowish colour to add some highlights, pink cheeks, and a turquoisey blue because I knew that I was going to have this background. Again, this is something that you can stamp a load of and then sit in front of the telly and just do for some relaxation, or again you can make it a family affair if you're not bothered about the cards being perfect looking and you've got children that colour outside the lines. I mean, how super adorable, you know, that to have that. And then I stamped the following sentiments: sweet season's greetings. I figured that was appropriate, and from our home to yours. I just think this would be lovely to do with your children or grandchildren. So that is the second card that is super simple to batch make, because again, all you have to do is just put the card in a box. I've got like a plasticky box that something was delivered in once, which I always put my A4 sheets in, blast with the mica mist and sparkle sprays, spray it in a well ventilated area, leave it to dry, and bish bash bosh, you've got gorgeousness. And then the final one, which you may think, oh okay, I'm not sure if that is suitable for batch making, but essentially it's cutting a bunch of trees, which we've done here. And you can see that I have also cut trees from this cardstock that I sprayed the beryl swirl onto. This is what it looks like if you spray the beryl swirl onto white cardstock. So it's like a silver with a very pale touch of sort of minty turquoisey green. It's gorgeous. And this is a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card panel. So I already showed you earlier that this stamp and then these two stamps, you together with the die, create what looks to me like a gingerbread house. So that's why I've coloured it up in this colour, to make it look like a gingerbread house. And then I showed you that I made a bunch of these roofs. Now obviously I only need one for this, but I showed you just how easy it is to make a bunch of the rooftops. So all I've done is started stacking the trees and trying not to leave any white spaces. So that's the trickiest bit basically, is trying not to leave any white spaces. And then once all these are stuck down, some I'll stick with foam pads. Again, it's going to be nice and dimensional. This is, I'll stick this on, and then again this will go on foam pads on top of there. and I made the from our home to yours, and then used again the hack where I cut the fishtail banner in half, used the gorgeous hollow waves, and I'm popping that there. And if you remember, I used some glitter accents on these stars, so I'm going to put a few stars around as well. So that is my 3 batch makeable cards, or 2 if you're not too sure about this one. But again, I think an older child could easily get the concept of putting these at various levels. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to assemble these off camera and then come back and show you them in all their glory. Okay, so here we go, the completed cards. So this is the first one, the largest one, which is A6, and this was so much fun to make. Just a little tip, when you're adhering mirror cardstock, I tend to find that if you try and use wet adhesive on it, then it shows through, so you see like little glue lines. So the best way to adhere mirrored cardstock and not see the glue is to use one of these, or to use double-sided adhesive tape. And also, when you're making these panels, do cut off and keep the excess, because you can use them to make more cards in the future. The second card I just think is so sweet, and I'm absolutely in love with the effect of the Beryl Swirl mica mist on top of the sea salt green cardstock. And both of these cards I would definitely say are so super easy to batch make. And then this one takes a bit more time, so not as quick really to make, but again could still be used to batch make. It'll just take a little bit longer. It depends how many cards you've got to send, because this can be stamped and coloured in front of the telly. So again, you could stamp out loads of these little houses on a couple of sheets of cardstock and give them to the kids to colour up, or do it yourself. And with this, it just takes a bit of thought about where you're going to adhere the trees to try and cover as much of the background as you can. This would be lovely if you wanted to ink blend the panel beforehand, or at least sort of the top half or third, and then you'd see bits of blue poking through for either a daytime or a nighttime sky. But I wanted it to be white, and I really like the addition of these little stars with the glitter accents on, and the same with the snowy rooftop. And again, as you saw, that took seconds, so I would definitely recommend that, and see how long it takes you. I didn't time myself, but again, if you did loads of batch colouring, batch die cutting, and then sit down and assemble, then you might consider that that would be good for a batch make, especially if you've only got, say, maybe 10-15 cards to make, and then make more of the other ones. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Bit unusual for me, because I do tend to go for the more intricate, loads of paper piecing, sort of fancy type cards, but I really wanted to give you an idea of how this kit could be used for batch making cards. So I'd love it if you would tell me what your favourite is. What do you think? Will you be using any of these designs, or using them as inspiration for batch making any of your holiday cards? If it is your first time visiting my channel and watching a video on the Tonic Craft Kit, and you like the Tonic Craft Kit, I always advise people to go for the option of the subscription, because you can cancel at any time. You can pause a kit if you think that you're not going to like it. But again, as I always say, if it's a 3D make and you're not that into 3D makes, you can make cards easily from 3D make, which I demonstrated in my recent video for the terrific Triple Towers showcase release. And again, if you're new to my channel, I've been making these Tonic Craft Kit unboxing and inspiration videos for about 2 years now. So there's a full playlist with loads of videos. So if you have, for example, bought kits in the vault, or you've got kits that you haven't used yet and you want some inspiration, feel free to have a look at that playlist. And if you also enjoy the other Tonic releases like the showcases and the stamp clubs, I've got another playlist with some videos on there, but not as many because I haven't been doing those as long as I have been the Tonic Craft Kits. So if it is your first time visiting and you've enjoyed your visit, please let me know by hitting the like button and also leaving me a comment. I'd really enjoy hearing your thoughts, and if you've got any questions or queries. Those two things also help YouTube to know that people are enjoying my content, and then they show it to more people, which is really helpful for me as a sort of smaller YouTube content creator. And I do have a goal of getting to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So the more people that watch and enjoy my content, the closer I will get to my goal. And if you are on Facebook and or Instagram, I'm also over there, and I will be sharing, as well as the link to this video, photos of the individual cards. So it'd be great if you are on those platforms, if you would follow me on there as well. The links for those are in the description box below, as is the details to subscribe to the kits and the links to the Tonic Studios store, and they are affiliate links. So if you are purchasing anything from Tonic and you have found value and enjoyed my content, I'd really appreciate it if you would shop via those affiliate links, because that gives me a small commission at no extra cost to yourself. So that's just a nice little bonus for me, really, and a good way for you to say thanks, Terry, I really enjoyed your content. So that's all from me today. A playlist and a video will appear here now for you to have a look at more craft kits and something that YouTube thinks that you might enjoy. And I will see you really soon with some more crafty goodness. Bye for now.